What if everything you ever needed to change your life was already inside you, but you were too distracted, too afraid, or too busy to notice? What if the time you think you have is slipping faster than you realize? What if the people you lost were actually your liberation, not your failure? What if the smallest decisions you make every day are quietly building your destiny? What if the silence you run from holds the answers you desperately seek? What if life is not giving you what you want because you haven't become the person who's ready to receive it? And what if healing isn't supposed to be perfect? What if healing is meant to break you first so you can rebuild stronger than you've ever been? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to rethink time, relationships, habits, silence, growth, and healing. Not as ideas, but as turning points, not as lessons, but as awakenings. This is not just a speech, it's a mirror. And by the end, you won't just listen. You'll feel every word. What if time is not something we lose slowly, but something that vanishes the moment we stop paying attention to it? What if the minutes you let slip today are the same minutes you'll beg for years later, wishing you had lived them instead of just watching them go? We grow up believing time is generous, forgiving, patient. But time is the quietest thief. It steals in silence, it leaves no trace, and by the time you realize what's missing, it's already too late to recover what was taken. We always think there will be another chance, another day, another moment. We postpone dreams for later, we delay love because we assume tomorrow will wait, we put happiness on hold, thinking it will return when life is easier. But time is not guaranteed, it is not a promise, it is an opportunity. And opportunities expire the moment hesitation replaces action. People spend years waiting for the right moment to start. They keep their ideas buried, their passions quiet, and their hearts closed, thinking time will stretch for them like an elastic band. But time doesn't bend, it breaks. And when it snaps, you are left with nothing but the weight of what you could have been. Imagine waking up one day realizing you spent more years scrolling than dreaming, more years complaining than creating, more years holding back than stepping forward. That realization hits harder than any failure ever could. Failure hurts for a moment, regret hurts forever. Every second you waste becomes a lifetime you cannot reclaim. Every sunrise you ignore is a miracle you never witnessed. Every chance you avoid becomes a story you'll never get to tell. People say life is short, but the truth is life can feel painfully long when you know you wasted it. Time even shows you what matters by taking away what doesn't. Friendships fade, opportunities disappear, faces you thought would stay forever become memories without warning. You don't get time back. You only get to change how you use what remains. Maybe the most terrifying truth is this: time will pass whether you move or not, whether you chase your dreams or bury them, whether you love deeply or hide your heart, whether you live fully or simply exist. Time won't slow down for your fears, your excuses, your doubts. It moves forward without looking back. And the question is, will you move with it or watch it leave you behind? What if the people you cried over were actually the doors life was desperately trying to close for your protection? What if the ones you chased, the ones you begged to stay, were never meant to walk with you into the future you're destined for? We grow up believing every departure is a tragedy, every goodbye a failure, every lost connection a wound. But the truth is darker, quieter, almost unbelievable. Not everyone you lose is a loss. Some people leave because keeping them would have destroyed you in ways you may not even see yet. Some people walk away because the universe knows they cannot follow you to the life you're meant to build. They were chapters, not entire books, and keeping them longer would have ruined the ending. Think about how many nights you stayed awake, replaying conversations, blaming yourself, wondering what went wrong. We mourn people like they were permanent, forgetting they entered without a contract. Some were meant to teach you self-worth by breaking it. Some were meant to teach you resilience by abandoning you. Sometimes we love people so much that we fail to notice how heavily they drain us. The wrong people don't always hurt loudly. Sometimes they hurt quietly, through doubt, through comparison, through the slow erosion of your identity. You call it love. Life calls it misalignment. Imagine this. The person you thought you needed was the reason you stopped growing. The friend you protected was the one who feared your potential. The partner you prayed for was the one blocking your blessings. We don't lose people by accident. We lose them because holding on would cost us more than letting go. The heartbreak was never the punishment. It was the release. You'll notice it one day when your mind feels lighter, when your goals expand without seeking approval, when your joy returns without explanation. When your peace no longer feels like a negotiation, you will look back and think, how was I surviving with such little space to breathe? How was I shrinking just to keep someone comfortable? Loss is only painful until you realize what it made room for. The absence you feared may be the freedom you needed. The goodbye you resisted may be the beginning of yourself. Some people are lessons disguised as love, and their exit is not a tragedy, it is transformation. What if the smallest decisions you make today are silently designing the future you'll be forced to live in tomorrow? What if the tiny habits you ignore, the ones that feel too insignificant to matter, are actually shaping the person you're becoming more powerfully than any major event in your life? We spend years waiting for something huge to happen, some breakthrough, some miracle, some turning point that will finally transform everything. But the shocking truth is this. Your life doesn't change in explosions, it changes in whispers, in the quiet choices no one sees, in the minutes you waste or invest, in the promises you keep or break with yourself. Imagine this, every time you choose comfort over effort, you're training your brain to settle. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you create a version of yourself who lives only in delay. Every time you skip the small action because it feels too small, you're teaching your future self that commitment is optional. And the terrifying part? These tiny choices don't show their consequences immediately. They build slowly, silently, like cracks under the surface of a foundation, invisible until the day everything collapses at once. We dream of big success but underestimate the power of repeating a small action every single day. 1 page a day becomes a book. 1 push-up a day becomes strength. 1 mindful decision becomes discipline. The habits you practice in secret become the results you're forced to show in public, and the world will call it overnight success, not knowing it was built in thousands of unseen moments. Think about how different your life would be if you committed to just 1 small habit. 5 minutes of learning, 10 minutes of movement, a moment of reflection, a step toward your dream. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they think small steps don't matter, so they never take them. They wait for motivation, not realizing motivation comes from momentum. You don't find discipline, you build it, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. And the most shocking part is this. Your future self is already being shaped right now, with or without your awareness. Every habit you repeat is a vote for the person you are becoming. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need small actions done consistently, even on the days you don't feel like it. Because consistency may feel slow, but it is unstoppable. What if silence isn't the emptiness we fear, but the truth we've been avoiding? What if the loudest answers of your life are the ones you only hear when everything else goes quiet? We've been conditioned to run from silence, to fill every second with noise, notifications, conversations, distractions, music, scrolling, anything that keeps us from being alone with our own thoughts. But silence is not empty. Silence is exposure. It is a mirror that reflects the parts of you you've spent years trying not to face. And that is exactly why it holds the answers no one else can give you. Think about how uncomfortable you feel when the world goes still. When there is no voice to drown out the one inside your chest, when there is no distraction to escape into. That discomfort is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything you've buried, pain you never processed, dreams you abandoned, truths you ignored. Silence doesn't hurt you. It reveals you. It forces you to acknowledge what you've been running from. And that revelation is often the beginning of transformation. We ask the world for advice, validation, direction. We want someone to tell us what to do next, who we should be, where we should go. But deep down we already know, we just haven't paused long enough to hear ourselves. Answers don't always come from outside. Sometimes they bloom in the quiet moments you spend alone, when the world stops speaking and your soul finally has space to Imagine what might happen if instead of fearing silence, you embraced it. If you sat in a quiet room with your thoughts long enough for confusion to settle into clarity, if you allowed your heart to speak without interruption, you'd realize that not every question needs a voice. Some questions need stillness. You'd discover that peace isn't found in noise, it's found underneath it. We think silence is lonely, but maybe silence is where you finally meet yourself, where you learn what you truly want, not what the world told you to want, where you hear the whispers of your intuition, your purpose, your pain, all waiting patiently to be heard. The most shocking truth is this: the answers you've been searching for might not require more thinking, more talking, more doing. They may require less noise, less distraction, less running, because sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs happen not when life gets louder, but when you finally become quiet enough to listen. What if you're not failing to attract the life you want? You're simply not becoming the person who belongs in it. What if the reason your dreams feel distant is because you're trying to pull in a future that your present self isn't ready to hold? We think we receive what we want, but life doesn't work like a wish list. Life responds to who we are, not what we desire. You can't demand peace while carrying chaos inside. You can't ask for loyalty while entertaining betrayal. You can't hope for abundance while your mindset is rooted in scarcity. The world doesn't give you what you ask for. It reflects what you are. Imagine wanting deep, meaningful love, but reacting with insecurity, jealousy, fear. Imagine wanting success, but procrastinating, doubting, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Imagine wanting happiness, but feeding yourself comparison every time you scroll. We pray for better, yet we live as if we don't believe we deserve it. We keep wishing instead of changing, wanting instead of becoming. You cannot build a mansion on the foundation of an abandoned self. Most people think life is unfair when they don't receive what they chase. But what if life is fair, painfully fair, and it only gives you the things that match your internal state? If you attract what you are, then your life right now is a mirror. It is showing you your patterns, your habits, your self-worth, your unresolved wounds. It is exposing what you need to heal, not what you need to achieve. The external world is just a projection of the internal one. And here comes the part most people never realize. What you want is trying to find you, but it cannot recognize you until you become aligned with it. The love you crave is waiting for a healed version of you. The success you desire is waiting for the disciplined version of you. The peace you seek is waiting for the surrendered version of you. Everything you dream of already exists. It's just waiting for you to evolve into the person who can carry it without breaking. So the real question is not, how do I get what I want, but who do I need to become so what I want naturally comes? Because the moment you upgrade your inner world, everything around you shifts with it. You don't chase, you attract effortlessly, silently, powerfully. What if healing isn't the peaceful, beautiful journey you imagined, but a messy war between who you were and who you're trying to become? What if the days you think you're breaking are actually the days you're rebuilding? We romanticize healing like it's sunlight and calm oceans, but real healing feels like drowning before you learn how to breathe again. We expect growth to be smooth, predictable, motivational, but it comes in waves, in relapses, in nights where the past feels stronger than the future you're reaching for. Healing doesn't move in a straight line. It loops, it twists, it drags you back just when you thought you escaped. And the shocking truth is, that's normal. That struggle isn't a setback, it's progress wearing a mask. Think about how many times you judge yourself for feeling weak after being strong for so long. How many times you thought you were healed, only to find yourself crying over something you thought you buried. We think going backwards means failure, but sometimes it means the wound just opened deeper to release what you couldn't let go of before. Healing asks you to feel what you spent years avoiding. It forces you to confront old memories, broken expectations, versions of yourself you no longer recognize. And yes, it hurts. Because tearing out pain from the roots is far more painful than cutting it from the surface. Some days you'll feel powerful, other days you'll struggle to get out of bed. Some days you'll forgive yourself, other days you'll drown in guilt. Some days you'll love your reflection, other days you'll question everything about it. That inconsistency doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Growth doesn't erase pain. It gives you the strength to move through it. You learn, you fall, you rise, and you repeat again and again until the triggers lose their power and the past becomes a story, not a prison. One day, without even noticing, you'll laugh again, and it won't feel heavy. You'll wake up, and the memory that once shattered you will feel distant, almost unreal. You'll realize healing didn't change your past, it changed your relationship with it. The pain didn't disappear. You outgrew it. You didn't become unbreakable. You became unafraid of breaking. And maybe that's the most powerful version of healing there is. In the end, these 6 lessons weren't just realizations. They were revolutions. They shifted the way I breathe, the way I love, the way I show up for myself. Time taught me urgency. Loss taught me clarity. Habits taught me power. Silence taught me truth. Alignment taught me attraction, and healing taught me patience. These lessons didn't arrive gently. They arrived through breaking, rebuilding, rising. They showed me that life is not a straight road. It bends, it bruises, it tests you, but it never stops offering you the chance to evolve if you are willing to listen. So if you take anything from my journey, let it be this. Life is happening right now, not someday. Growth lives in small steps, not giant leaps. Peace begins within, not outside. No chapter is wasted. No pain is pointless. No ending is final. Everything you experience is guiding you somewhere closer to who you are meant to become. Thank you for being here, for listening, for feeling these words with me. I hope something within you shifted. I hope you carry these lessons forward. And I truly wish that the future you're walking toward is brighter, calmer, and more aligned than anything you've ever known. Until then, keep growing, keep believing, keep becoming. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for giving me a moment of your time.